channel. How are you all? So today I want to talk about I think I don't know how to deal with people anymore and I am finding it quite scary. Especially now I'm getting older. I'm 41 now and I feel like if I don't know how to get along with people, how am I going to survive as I get older? And I don't mean like a romantic relationship. I don't mean that at all. Yeah, it's probably a part of it, but that's not what I mean. What I mean is you have to have a community building, right? Around you, basically people that you deal with every day. And I think boomers are pretty good at not maintaining but tolerating people around them, but at the same time they bitch about it. So I don't know how healthy it is to be bitching all constantly about people that is surrounding you. But at the same time I also see a lot of videos on TikTok about the price of community is annoyance, but the price of isolation is convenience. It's like, yeah, you have to keep tolerating people when you are in a community, when you are with people, and you always have to compromise so much. Sometimes you also have to sacrifice yourself. And I found myself, as especially as a neurodivergent, is incapable of doing that to a lot degrees. I can't even commit to showing up to a meeting now at 41, and because I don't know what my bodily condition will be at that moment. I don't know if I'm gonna be like super tired, or I'm gonna be, I don't know, like curling up in the sofa because my tummy hurts, or my whether I'm gonna get a migraine that day. I feel like all my trauma of the past is building up so much that I'm so scared of committing like so many days in advance, because I don't know if I'm going to show up that day or if I'm able to show up even for myself. Then the idea of like doing that is so like irritating to my psyche, and it gets to a stage where I can snap when people ask whether I can go or not. Like, I don't have an answer for that. And it's not their fault, right? Like, it's just something that I am experiencing. And I didn't really have that experience when I was younger at all. I could just say, yeah, okay, well, I'll just pencil it in. I'll go. If not, there's nothing, if nothing happens, I'll go. Like, it was so easy to say that when I was younger. And but at the same time, when I was younger, even if I have a headache, even if I just had a surgery, I would probably turn up if I said that I would turn up, right? So that's probably one problem that I don't particularly want to be following. Now I'm 41. So I feel like as I get older, it's getting really hard to genuinely keep people around. And I think I realized the only reason that I used to keep people around was because I was not existing. I was not even there. I was just people pleasing. I was just allowing people to get with their way so that I just diminish my needs and what I want. So that's how all the people around me was established, is because, people are I just go with whatever they want, right? So it was easier. And I realized like once I stopped doing that, no one really going to come around anymore to do what I want or ask what I want to do, which fine. I feel like it's probably hard for me to actually answer that as well. So, but I've been unmasking for almost like 10 years now. No, more than 10 years. And I find that to be very difficult. Unmasking means like you not really putting an air or like a personality that is different than who you are on the outside. Like when you're neurodivergent, autistic, or especially female adult autistic, you tend to mask a lot, and usually it has a threshold, like how long you can do it. And um and it will create a toll in your body. Usually in my case it manifested as severe chronic illness. So and I like for me, I have been isolated for the past 13 years now. So I don't know how to mask properly now. I think I can do it for an hour every month, so 1 hour for every month. Like that's a quota, and that's like enough. So I usually go to like a group meeting so that I don't have to constantly be interacting with people, which is the opposite than when I was in my 20s. In my 20s, I always opt in for a one-on-one interaction, and I always like try to avoid group interaction. But now it's the opposite, because in group interaction I can unmask. I don't have to put a mask too much. I can just, pretend to be someone that is, very friendly and someone who's bubbly for about 15 minutes, which is the initial greetings when you come into a room, and you basically catch up a little bit with everyone. Hi, how are you going? How is it? Like, how is your son? How is your daughter? How is you? How is your niece? Did you get an operation? Oh, how is your health? Did your doctor appointment go okay? Like, oh, did that thing got checked out? That kind of thing, like in the beginning of the group. And then, because usually the group has its own dynamic, and people would come in and that would start over that conversation again with a different person who just walked in, and you kind of just sit in the background afterwards. So it's like, you've got your minutes, you got your 15 minutes of just chatting with everyone, and then someone else going to take over. And usually there's always going to be a dominant person who kind of dominates the room. So you're just going to let that happen. And so I feel like right now, like group setting is a lot easier because I kind of don't have to do a lot. I just chime in every here now and then. But at the same time, with the group setting, you don't really get a community sense as much because they don't know who you are. Basically, at the end of the day, they're not in depth into your personality or who you are as a human being. So if you're sick, like they are just at acquaintance level, they're just at a surface level. So, or if you need something, or if you're really in deep doo doo, you can't really rely on these people because they're not really friends. They're just people in your community, and that's it. Like, it's just people that you just enough to have awareness of your existence and their existence, and that's it. And I also realized, like, I it's really difficult, especially in a neurodivergent person, to make friends, especially now at 41, because if I were to make friends, usually it would have to be with the neurotypicals, because neurodivergent are people like me isolating somewhere, like deep in the darkness of the world or in the internet. And I can't, like, even if I can find them, I think our hardcore personalities, our crystallized interest in something, and our obsession with a certain way to do things would make us quite repel each other, because we are as headstrong as we are stubborn. So I feel like the only chance we can get to be friends is people with neurotypicals. But at the same time, like, neurotypicals are very different species altogether. They lie a lot, and not that they're intending to be a bad person by lying, but usually lying is a social lubricant to navigate the world so that you don't offend other people's feeling. But that's very different in a neurodivergent world, where lying is actually um, the crux of the matter that will offend you. It's like, no, even if the truth hurts, I prefer the truth than the lies. Um, like, if we need to argue about it, we can argue about it. Like, I'm not gonna take you, the personality, as the problem, but the problem as the problem itself. And I think it's quite difficult because, like, when in neurotypicals, everything always have a double meanings. Everything is always double, not always, but usually it's double layered. So I feel like you have to go through a lot of hoops just to establish a conversation. So it's quite hard to make it, a real relationship. And I don't know, like, now as a 41 years old, I feel like I just can't cope dealing with people. But at the same time, I realize I do need community. Again, I'm not talking about romantic relationship. I'm talking about community. People that you can just go to and say, hey, do you have sugar? I ran out of sugar. Can I borrow your sugar? And then you can just go the next day and pay them back, like with the sugar that you just bought from the supermarket, because you need your sugar at 9 o'clock at night, and you don't want to go to the supermarket. You can just go down your neighbors, um, go down to one of your neighbors and just ask for it. And I know, like, that sounded really, um, maybe like if you're born in the 80s or born in the 70s, you probably like, oh yeah, I remember like my dad, my mom, like our neighbors used to do that. But I think if you grow up like a bit later on, like, in the 2000s, it might be a little bit different for sure. But I definitely, and I don't know if that kind of sense of community is something that is ideologically being ingrained inside of my brain, or is it a fantasy um wish making that I want for myself? Like, is it still possible? Because, like, there's also going to be very huge problems, like when you're in a tight knit community like that. Like, everyone's probably bitching about everyone, and I kind of see it as well. Like, people help each other, but they're also helping each other not out of sincerity, but out of being nosy. And after that, like, they would just say something really bad behind each other's back. I don't know. I feel like I witnessed so much from society, and I'm so traumatized. So I don't know how to build a community when I'm so traumatized by the community. I just need a lot of money. Probably that's what I need. I just need to buy my community, which is probably what the billionaire class wants you to think. And I feel like that's just bad. I feel like just because we are losing our skills to tolerate each other. And in that sense, if we can't tolerate each other, then we have to buy tolerance. That's not a good thing. Anyway, that's my rant about uh unmasking and my low tolerance for people these days. How are you going with people? Are you doing okay with people? I don't have the answer to this. I'm just mainly ranting in my chatty corner series because I have ran out of my desire to demonetizing people. Oh my god, Siri basically just responding to me, and I'm kind of scared. Suddenly it popped up. Siri, can you hear me? Hey Siri, I respect your privacy and only listen when you're talking to me. You can only learn about Apple's approach to privacy on apple.com. Hey Siri, can you say hello to my viewers?
Okay. Hello.
Why are you suddenly turned on? You never turned on before when I'm talk. That's a really creepy thing. Anyway, that happened. I will see you in the next video. Bye everyone.